Welcome back guys to another episode of my weekly devlog series. Today it's a little bit different, and that's not just because we're on a different day today. As you might have realized, it's Sunday, so yeah, I'm planning to upload these videos now on Sundays. We'll see how that goes, I guess. Yeah, so the important thing that I did this week was the Archon implementation. That's kind of the goal that I had in mind for the week. But I had to fix some more stuff for the stats integration feature. There were some things that weren't really working properly, I guess. But now they do, because the way that I imported the JSON files, it didn't work that well and had some issues with that. But now I made it a little bit better. I'm now running an actual FTP server on the game server using RCON that isn't protected in any way, so everyone could theoretically access it. It doesn't run on a standard port, so it's not easy to find by like automated bots. And the FTP server only serves like all the JSON files, so theoretically all your stats are publicly available on the internet. But it doesn't really matter, I think, and that made things a little bit easier, and I hope this is working now correctly. I mean, it looks like it does, so there's that. Yeah, and I had some other issues because of that then brought me to do that the simple FTP way, where I just took me like 2 days or so to figure out, and like some other programming things, it just took me ages, like these little tiny bugs sometimes, that take ages to find. Okay, but now Archon. I thought like will take like a couple days to implement that as well, but that was like done in an hour and a half or so. First up, what even is Archon? Archon is basically a protocol to remotely control and connect to a server. Basically, you have your console when you start up the Minecraft server, where you can send like commands and stuff like that, Yeah, this console is basically only available on the machine that the server runs on, or through like a web interface usually. If you're using like Multicraft or some other admin panel, yeah, you can access that through the web as well. But I want to access it like from my bot, like from my application, and that's what Archon is for. So this means that the Minecraft server, has another port where it listens for Archon requests, and I can send stuff to that port. I obviously have to authenticate with my password, because you obviously have to set a strong password for that. And then you can just send some text to it, some commands. And for that I implemented a new kind of subcommand in the admin command called admin-mc. And then I can do add for whitelist add, and I could just mention any user to whitelist them, basically. That's now pretty nice, because I have already saved all the users' information already, so that's pretty cool. Or whitelist rm to remove them from the whitelist. Or with just cmd, I can just send like all different types of commands that I want to. For example, I could do say, this is a test message, don't mind me, winky face. And as you can see, it doesn't support the winky face, but as you can see, this then works. I could also do other stuff like admin mc cmd kick the txt, and as you can see, that works beautifully. Yeah, I'm using a third-party library to do that. I actually looked at the source code of that. It's actually not that difficult to do. It's not a whole lot of code that it is required to do that sort of stuff here. But yeah, just use the library because it's like easier, and it's like very simple. You send like one command, you say connect, you give it like a server port and a password, and it connects, and then you can just send some stuff, just send it a string, and then it just sends to the server. So there's one limitation though, that I might be able to work around, and that's actually retrieving stuff. So if I would now For example, build in a command where you can check the TPS, the ticks per second of the server, for example. That would also be able with Archon, but I haven't looked too deeply into it yet. But I think you can listen like for stuff that Archon sends you back, but I think this is just like the entire server console, although I'm not really sure, I haven't looked into that yet. Yeah, that would have been like all the content for this week, but then I thought, hey, I also want to do another pretty cool thing this week, or the weekend. And then I thought, hey, yeah, maybe I can push these videos now back to Sunday, so I have a little bit more time this week. And that's essentially what I did. And I also think that Sundays just are better because I have more time to make these videos in theory. Because I'm usually like pretty limited and tired like on Friday evening making these videos. So yeah, so let's go to the next thing here. So what you can see right here, maybe you already know what this is. This is NetData. This is a pretty cool program for monitoring your server. So yeah, let's just take a quick look at here. There's like missing some data there for whatever reason. Sometimes it just misses a little bit, but overall it's pretty cool. We can get a quick overview up here. We can see the total CPU utilization, disk writes and reads, network in and out, how much RAM is being used and how much swap is being used, stuff like that. And we get like a bazillion stats here about the server's load, disk, RAM, swap, network, swap IO, blah blah. I can't just talk about all of these because it's pretty small, but on here it says every second NetData collects 1,658 metrics on TXT Game 02, presents them in 306 charts and monitors them with 96 alarms. So yeah, this is pretty... It's a lot. It's a lot of data that this here collects. The nice thing about it is that it's pretty much plug and play. Like you just execute one command, it downloads itself, it installs itself. I just had to configure the thing for Spigot, which we are going to see in a second here. But I'm just going to scroll through here. It's pretty interesting, like the utilization of the CPU cores, the individuals, interrupts of the IRQs, whatever that is all about. If the CPU is throttling, you can see actually the CPU frequency. So it's usually at around 4 megahertz here. We can also zoom out. So per default, this stores the past 12 hours. And that only in RAM, so it keeps all the data in memory basically. As you can see, this is pretty comprehensive. You get some more memory information. As you can see up here, there are like very many like different sections. It is now about all the different disks here, the file system, the root file system, how full the root file system is. Then we have the boot file system, MDO, which is a drive, then NVMe1, which is a drive, the other drive, the NVMe drive here. We have dev, SHM, run log. These are all more file systems, I think. TCP stuff, you can see here IPv4, how many sockets are open, packets received, sent, delivered, blah blah, errors, ICMP, whatever, TCP, UDP, IPv6, the same thing again, and network interfaces, how they are doing, how much they're receiving and sending, the firewall, how many connections are open. Even more stuff, more applications. So this is like which applications are using CPU and disk and whatnot, and memory and swap, and user groups, how they are using everything, and users, how they are using everything. And then more interesting stuff about Apache, so the local web server, which mostly serves the DIN map. You can see like how many requests are there a second, how the bandwidth looks like, how like workers, how they are utilized, lifetime average requests, and average bandwidth, blah blah. More sensor stuff, so there's like the temperature of the CPU down here, for example, which is also pretty interesting to see. It's actually pretty interesting, I guess, because it's like running in a nice cool data center. but it's actually still running fairly warm for that, I would say. I mean, yeah, usually when there's nothing too much going on, around like 30 degrees, but it's still getting up to like 50 and 60 degrees, whatever. And then that's pretty cool as well, Spigot MC here. So this provides two statistics. That's the TPS for one. The TPS took a little dip here apparently. And you could see directly the next second the temperatures are just rising up. So yeah, took a quick second there to catch up, I guess. Yeah, exactly. And then down here, Minecraft users as well. So there were 4, then 3, and then now 2. And more Apache stuff here. So responses, if they were good or bad, or what codes, like error codes or like status codes were sent back, and number of responses for each response code. Response code family, whatever. More stuff about bandwidth and different HTTP methods that were getting used, and IP protocols, and like how many unique clients apparently. Unique clients IP addresses accessing the web server since the last restart of NetData. IPv4, so 5 different people with IPv4 and 1 with IPv6 since NetData's last restart, which I just restarted. So yeah, because the Spigot stuff up here somehow lost its connection, I had to reconfigure that again and then restart the server again. And then some NetData monitoring itself, how much data it is like using and how many connected clients there are and whatnot. And web request queries, blah blah blah. And I think that was then pretty much it. Yeah, so maybe you have already noticed this is a bunch of data, and I don't have this just for TXT Gamer 2. I also have this obviously then for Web01. This is the web server running the Discord bot as well. So we have a whole slew of information here as well. Here now including also the local MongoDB server. So this is also getting monitored here. Yeah, storage metrics, whatnot. Commands that are getting sent, stuff like that. So yeah, this also contains quite a bit of stuff. And then also for the new server that I set up this weekend, Mon01 for monitoring. So this is then the monitoring server. Oh, there's some alert going on. I don't know. Yeah, so now this is all pretty cool. You may have already typed this URL into your browser and you realize that you need a password for that. And that's because I don't want to make this all information public all the time. It's like pretty cool to look at for yourself, but it's like too much data to like, see anything meaningful in my opinion. I mean, yeah, if you want to debug some performance issues or whatever like that, then yeah, this all is definitely pretty interesting. But just it's a lot of information. But I built now the monitoring server here, which we're actually on right now. So monitoring.pixture.com will redirect to the monitoring server. So I built the server not to host all the NetData dashboards here. Actually, all these dashboards run on like the server and through a reverse proxy here. So this is running Apache here as well. Actually, look at this down here. Apache is getting monitored here as well. And this runs what's called a reverse proxy. So essentially I connect to this server, but the server then makes the request and gets the actual website from another server in the background without me really noticing. So this is now useful, for example, because I can make this HTTPS through the server, so secure the connection through the reverse proxy. And most importantly, I can implement access control, so it like requires username and password, which NetData itself doesn't support, but by doing the reverse proxy thing, I can implement that through Apache. So the actual interesting thing that's now running on here is Prometheus, or however it's called. I don't know. This is like a little program doohickey, which essentially just polls my NetData dashboards here. So it asks all the NetData dashboards for their data. So not every second, but every 15 seconds, it then gathers all the bazillion statistics here from my 3 NetData servers and saves them. And that is now not the interesting thing, but it's pretty useful because that means that this is all saved forever, basically. Okay. Another cool thing that you can do with it is you can use something like Grafana. Grafana being a nice program that you can use to build nice dashboards like this. So Grafana itself doesn't store data. It can now connect to Prometheus and use that as a data source, and I can build these incredibly nice dashboards now out of that. So yeah, up here it starts now with like total network traffic, so you can see like the network traffic in a big chart and stuff from all my servers, so the sent and received and whatever. And then you get like 3 big rows for all the, or columns I think. Yeah, 3 columns for my 3 servers, TXTGamer2, TXTWeb01 and TXT101, with like a neat little description underneath, and then some live statistics like CPU utilization, used memory. Yeah, you probably remember that all from up here, NetData. Just that this isn't like updating as fast now, obviously, as I said, just every 15 seconds. And you can see some live statistics here. You can also see TPS loss and online users here for the game server. TPS loss is basically calculated by just doing 20 minus the current TPS. And it gives you like how many TPS you are missing, I guess. And how much you're running slower, basically. And then now, currently for like the last hour, you get like CPU utilizations, network traffic, and disk I/O. Oh, this was a lot of disk I/O there for a quick minute. Interesting. And what do we have here? Memory usage, and then some like web server requests for the Apache servers, or database operations for the MongoDB server, and then a TPS loss down here, as well as online players with some of them with their respective charts there as well. And yeah, that's what I basically implemented. And now the interesting thing about this is that you can look at quite long data ranges here. So I could say last 2 days, and yeah, it's now running for barely almost 2 days. And now I can look at the statistics here for, well, the past 2 days, I guess. You can see like some quick peaks here and there. And how it's like looking like overall memory usage. Here you can, for example, see where I restarted the Minecraft server. Yeah, pretty interesting data here, I think. And yeah, this gives you like a nice overview, and this will be definitely interesting to see in like a couple months or so, because this should kind of like show how everything kind of grows, you know. So I'm really interested in seeing how this will look like in a couple months from now. But yeah, so far, well, you can access now this dashboard here yourself, so you can take a look at this yourself by joining the Discord server. I made, I think, at the announcements channel, an announcement that you can look at where all the instructions are in, so you can also get access to this dashboard here yourself. Yeah, and I think so far this was pretty much it what I did last week. Next week is going to be interesting, because next week is probably going to be the last week which is just working on a Discord bot. I still have a couple of features for the Discord bot that I want to implement. Actually, we can go on GitHub here and see for ourselves projects, development. You can, by the way, access this as well. So there's that. So add player top lists to stats command. Yeah, so for example, you could check how many times you died, for example, and you could see like how you compare to all other players in that regard. Some little fixes and some like little updates to comma, command, and automatically adding the Minecraft in-game name to your Discord nickname if they're different. These are the 3 things that I want to do next week. I think this should be doable. And after that, it's just working on a website. So the website itself is like mostly done, I would say. But it's still missing like all these smart Node.js integrations. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you all next week. Until then, have a great time. See you all then. Bye bye.